I feel so bad for Anthony Edwards, man. Like he's gonna be good, but that team is not gonna go anywhere. They had Karl Anthony Towns for what, 4 years, 5 years. I haven't done a single fucking thing with him. They have D'Angelo Russell. Was he injured this year?
Yeah, all of them were kind of injured,
Okay.
going in and out. I think they'll be much better next year.
I
But they're
hope
selling the
so.
team to
I
yeah,
mean, you basically
they're
have
selling the team
top
to A-Rod.
5 players. Well, maybe not top 5, but like fantasy wise, Karl Anthony Towns is always taken like in the first round. So
Mhm. Yeah, he just doesn't. It's kind of empty stats, really.
yeah,
They're selling the team to A-Rod. That
that's
was hilarious.
right.
Anthony Edwards is a very funny person. Just
Be
because I remember
real.
they
This
asked
guy
him.
knows who he is.
Oh, dude.
He knows who
Yeah.
he is.
No, he's hilarious. Dude. I remember they asked him what if he knew or if he was a big fan of A-Rod, and he's like, I don't know who is that.
Yeah. He's like, I don't who's.
I
I know
don't
he's
know
buying
who
the team.
that
Is he
is.
buying the whole team or is it a partial?
No, it's part. It has to be partial. There's no way he has that much money.
Yeah.
It's like 3.3 billion or something. Like
Yeah, bro. As much
who
as
has that much?
A-Rod made during his career, there's no way he made that much money.
No, no way in hell. But there's a lot of trash franchises. I mean, it's kind of smart to just buy a trash franchise, especially one that has talent like that. Because even if you trade them, you kind of be set up for the future in a way. Um, Especially even if you buy like, would you say OKC right now? You got like 57 draft picks. You're bound
Fuck,
to get
man.
somebody good.
They're going to get somebody good.
There's so much weird kind of stories in the NBA. It really has become like a my GM kind of 2K
Yeah.
league, where it's like nobody's trying to be good, and they're like, just give us 5 to 6 years. Like people are just flying through the season. Like, yeah, no, the season's a write off. Who cares?
But
How is
so
anybody okay with that?
this is one of the problems I've always had with the NBA is like how they don't care about the season they're currently in. And it like really touches on what you're talking about because it's always like we're gonna tank and we're gonna get the number 1 pick, or we'll try to get the number 1 pick because there's a lottery, or like Klay Thompson's injured or Steph Curry's injured, so we're just gonna everybody else is gonna sit. To me it's like maybe because I'm a football fan and like I'm used to people always trying, like, bro, the Jacksonville Jaguars won 1 game and then lost every single game for the rest of their season. If you watch their games, not once would you ever think that they were trying to lose those games. They lost, which just goes to show you how bad of a team they are, but they were still
They have the voting
trying
behavior
to
now.
win.
They got their
Then you
voting
watch
behavior.
games of these teams that are clearly tanking, and it's like, where's the integrity of the sport? Like, you're always thinking 6 years down the line, but you're never thinking about the current season that you're in. Like, I just don't. Does that not hurt the pockets of the? Like, I don't want to go watch this team because they don't care about this season. I mean, at least if you watch the Jackson, like, okay, I understand Jacksonville's not that big of a market for football, but if you paid to go watch the Jaguars, you were gonna see Gardner Minshew throw for 300 yards. You were going to see guys like Laviska Shenault get touchdowns, and it wasn't like they were putting up all their backups trying to get the number 1 overall pick for Trevor Lawrence. And we're talking about Trevor Lawrence, who's like a generational talent. He could be the next John Elway, and they were still trying to win. The Jets had a guaranteed pick, and they went and beat 2 really good teams. They beat the Rams, and I think they beat the Seahawks. These are 2 good teams that they beat, and you were in the position to get Trevor Lawrence. Like 100%, if there was the mentality switch of like the NBA and the NFL, the Jets would finish the season 0-7, 0-16.
100%.
There's no way they would have tried to win those games. But it's like, I don't know. Maybe it might just be because I'm a football fan. I don't get it. But I've always seen teams, doesn't matter how shit you are, you always go out there to try to win, no matter what the stake is, no matter if it's Zion or if it's LaMelo Ball or who's the number 1 pick this year? Is it the guy from
Cade. It's going to be projected. It's Cade.
Okay. So, I mean, is there something I'm missing, or like what is it about why do they do that?
I think a quick joke, I think, is probably Tim Tebow. The Messiah Tebow is bringing safety back to the NFL.
Yeah.
But no, I think the biggest thing, one, is that it's much more difficult to win in football. It's kind of just a toss up in the air. Anybody can win on any given day. Basketball, it's really just if you have the best player, you're gonna win. Like with ease. Like KD will come in on again like Minnesota and will go 14 for 17 off the bench, 26 minutes to have 40 points. Like, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, this is what I do. They win
I'm
by
KD.
30,
You know who I am.
Like, yeah, you know who I am, right? Kind of thing. I think the biggest thing is that NFL players, they're like everything with the contracts and everything, nothing's guaranteed. So they have to play their hearts out every single week just to make their paycheck. And with NBA, the moment you give somebody like 4 years, 120 mil, 5 years, 150, and you tell them, be like, hey, we're not in the playoffs. Like, let's just get a better pick. Just sit out the last 2 weeks. Go on vacation early.
Yeah.
Why would they turn that down?
Do you think that hurts the integrity of the sport or no?
You would think so in theory, but low key, I think it's helped the sport. Because like even
Really?
with football, dude, even with football on Twitter, every time I see like a tweet, like Bleacher Report or something, like all the fans I see talking about the Jets are like, the Jets screwed up. We just lose games, just keep losing. They wanted Trevor Lawrence so bad, they were begging their team to lose games, and I think draft season has become more interesting than actual championship and playoff season. I think there's more coverage. There's more fan kind of excitement, which is such a weird thing that people are more interested in players that have never played a single game
Snap
in it,
or yeah.
snap, whatever. And people are more interested in that than the playoffs in general.
I don't know. I feel like I have to agree with you because it's like there is such an appeal for the future, especially being a sports fan. You know, like the idea that you could be set for the next 6 years. I understand the logic of tanking because you do get that number one overall pick. I guess in basketball, there's a lottery, increase your chance to get the number one overall pick. But I don't know what it is, but it's like to see a team tank and then to tank and then to tank and then to tank. It's like you tanked last year. Now you're going to tank again this year. Weren't you tanking last year to tank? Like, oh, we're thinking 6 years ahead. We're thinking 5 years ahead. 5 years ago, your 6 year plan was this year, and you're still tanking.
Yeah, the Cavs have been tanking ever since LeBron left.
Yeah,
Like tanking since 2004.
Like what? Where is the plan? When does it end?
I think tanking in a specific kind of extreme way is smart. Like with Sam Hinkie and the Sixers, like I think he definitely did die for their sins. Low-key, if you look back at it, it was genius. If they didn't fire him, it's hilarious. They fired him for being the worst GM in history, but they hired the actual worst GM in history, Brian Colangelo. This is the man that drafted Andrea Bargnani.
What do you mean that guy's a legend?
Primo Pasta, that guy, the Italian 7-footer who had averaged 2
legend.
rebounds a game. The legend, is that what you called him? The Toronto legend.
Best center Toronto Raptors ever had.
He might be. Where is he now?
Ital Boston.
If you ask me what Masai Ujiri, Ujiri's best trade ever was, it's not trading for Kawhi. It's
not Marc Gasol.
Of Andrea Bargnani for a first-round pick. That is Masai Ujiri's. So Brian Colangelo is the man that drafted.
Legend status as soon as he made that trade.
This guy comes in, African prince, gets rid of the Italian demon. Okay, he's like, we don't want no Italians on this team. Gets rid of Andrea Bargnani. He's like, I only want Africans. Drafts Pascal. Dude.
Holy fuck.
Changed the league, okay? So Sam Hinkie changed the game, definitely. He was the one that really was like, yeah, right in your face, we're tanking. But if you're a team like the Cavs or like Sacramento, where you're just bad and you're kind of like middle of the pack, not making the playoffs, but not bad enough to get a top pick, that's when you end up being a team that hasn't made the playoffs in over 10 years, right? And with the Sixers, they only missed the playoffs for like 3 or 4 years? So it's like, why not just be completely awful? And they would have been better very sooner if their top players weren't injured. Because right when they drafted Embiid, he was out. He didn't play for like 2 years. I do think they sat Simmons on purpose for a year just to tank again, which is hilarious. Imagine drafting a player number one, he gets like an injury, and you're just like, just don't play the year. Just sit out the entire year.
I just what I'm saying. I don't get it. Like it's like imagine if the Jacksonville Jaguars, so they just drafted Trevor Lawrence. Imagine like he's fully healthy, and they just say fuck it. Like they're just like fuck it. We're gonna go for the number one pick next year. I don't get it. But again, I think that's because I come from a football fan perspective. And like I just don't understand as much as maybe like a basketball fan would look at it. And then maybe like even hockey fans, they like I don't even know if hockey fans would understand it, because from my perspective, I could be wrong, but do people tank in hockey? Like from my perspective, the Leafs got the number 1 overall pick, and then ever since then they've been really good. Okay, regular season wise, don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to say that they're fucking good in the playoffs. We obviously know how bad they are in the first round, but they got Austin Matthews in 2015 or 2016, and ever since then, you know, that's been they've been on a consistent uptrend. Yeah. I just don't know if that's, and same thing with the Oilers. They got Connor McDavid, and like I just feel like it's you build from it instead of like exactly like you said, like the Cavs, bro. They have not done anything since LeBron left.
That organization's a shit show. Their backcourt is both 6 feet combined. They're 2 guards.
Small ball.
Your backcourt is called Sexland, and they're 6 feet tall combined. They're 3 feet each.